Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. Good afternoon, everyone. Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. It's a crappy, cloudy day here, overcast day here in Toronto. It was nice this morning, nice and sunny, but weather has changed. Anyways, my guest today is Jessy Pagliuca, owner of Tease Hair Lounge, based in Streetsville, Ontario. Hey, Jessica, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good. How's your day going?
It's going pretty good, I guess. Just trying to survive the day with this quarantine happening. So it's been good. It's been good. How's your day going?
Not too bad. Are you having a difficult time adjusting and dealing with the fact that you had to close the doors of your business?
Well, at first it kind of seemed unreal, like surreal. It was like, okay, is this really happening? Okay, maybe it's going to be closed down for a week or two. But now I think, what are we on, week 4?
Yeah. I think week 4 now.
So yeah, it's really happening. So, you know, it's been tough. It's been tough for me. It's been tough for my staff, financially, emotionally, mentally, but there's nothing really we can do about it. So we got to make the best of it, keep positive, and just pull through.
Are you making good use of your time that you have now?
Now I am. I find that in the beginning, I was just kind of, sitting around waiting for the next step, what's going to happen next, just preparing myself mentally for that, and then just figuring, this is not going to happen anytime soon, so I might as well, make the best of what we have now. So yeah, I mean, I've been trying to do some virtual, online courses to keep me busy. I just completed one of my courses, which is, a great accomplishment.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Yeah, so thank you. So just things like that, doing things around the house that I never got to do before, spending a lot more time with my family, which is great. But just, mentally just keeping happy and healthy, I think is really important.
Absolutely, especially in times like these where the negativity can seep in and you can start the worry and the stress, and it's important to keep positive for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure like there's days that I have, and I'm sure everybody else is kind of going through the same thing, but you're allowed to have those days. If you feel like crying, cry. If you feel like being upset, frustrated, do it. Get those emotions out. It's only human to feel this way, but the overcoming it the next day or the day after is, it feels good. And you should allow yourself to have those sad days because, we're just human. We're human like everybody else, so we're allowed to.
Very true. Good outlook. How has this been for you being the owner of a salon and having staff to calm their worries and things like that? How was that when you first decided that, okay, it's time to close the doors and now I have to talk to my staff about this, and how has it been handling their emotions as well as your own?
Well, that's been really difficult. I think in the beginning it was kind of, we were, following what everybody else was sort of doing, okay, this business is closing, this one's closing. So I think, in our best interest, we should close as well. Obviously, wanting to keep ourselves safe and the safety of others. So that was one of the main things. So I decided to close, but a week after that, it was kind of mandatory anyway. So we constantly talk. We have a group chat that we all are on, and we're trying to keep each other positive and crack jokes and send recipes and things like that. And it's been hard for a few of them, if not all of them. I mean, myself included. So just keeping positive, making everybody laugh. We try to do some video chats and just to see each other's faces. But I mean, I miss them like crazy. So it's hard, but we have a good relationship. So we know that once this is all over, it's going to be, game on and busier than ever. So we're keeping positive.
Yeah. So you've had your feet planted in the beauty industry for quite a few years now. Where did everything come from in order to open the salon? Like, where did that all start in your head? How did that come about with you deciding, okay, you know what? I want to open my own salon?
It's a funny story. So I've been doing hair for quite some time, probably about 16 years. And I started obviously in the salons and things like that. And then I started to do hair out of my parents' basement. And I did that I did that for quite some time. I loved it, in my little, maybe 100 square foot little box, I call it. I look back now and I'm just like, oh my God, how did I even do that? But I did it. I made it work, and I built a clientele, a loyal clientele. And then I just started growing from there. At the same time, I did have other jobs. I bartended for so many years, so I kept that on the go just to kind of bring that cash flow in.
Yeah.
And then my parents decided that they wanted to move. So I was like, okay, so what am I going to do with my business? But my parents did give me a year's notice, so I had plenty of time to figure out what I wanted to do. But by that time the year had ended, I decided it would be, in my best interest to maybe rent a chair somewhere. So I found a place, a little salon in Meadowville, Mississauga, and I rented a chair for about a year. And I loved it. It was great, nice. It was so good to be back in a salon, that atmosphere. Yeah. But during that time, I knew, I'm like, okay, now is the time. Like, this has always been a dream of mine to open up a salon, like since I was, a kid. And I decided, now if I can't do it now, when am I ever going to do it? And you got to remember, at this time I had just had a baby. So my daughter was probably not even a year old. So imagining trying to open up a business with a little girl. But, my husband supported me, and he said, if you want to do it, let's do it. Yeah. So that's when the journey kind of started, and we started looking for places to rent and, a location, which is really important. And I stumbled across this cute little place in Streetsville where I'm located now. And that was 5 years ago, and I haven't looked back since. So it was, I love it. I absolutely love it.
So Tease Hair Lounge was born 5 years ago then.
5 years ago. Yeah. You want to hear the irony is that all before this quarantine happened, we had our 5-year anniversary party on March 14th, which was basically our last shift. Yeah. So I tell my staff and my clients, I'm like, at least we went out with a bang. Like, we had a great party. Yeah. Everybody was there enjoying ourselves. And then from there, we had to close. So
yeah, it was a great party. I was there, I remember.
Yes.
It was a lot of people. It was a lot of fun. A lot of good food and good times were had by all. It was great.
Yeah.
So where did the name come from? Where did you come up with that name? Or how did you come up with the name for your salon?
Well, I can't really take credit for that. And one of my best friends and I remember we were at our jobs in the morning, and I was in the office and she was in her office, and we were talking on the phone. And it was about half an hour during that time where we really didn't have anything to do. So we started talking, and she always knew that it was a dream of mine to open up something. So we're like, let's figure out a name. So she's like, okay, perfect. And I always go to this friend, her name's Christine, for any advice that I have, because she's just a wizard to certain things. So she's like, okay, I'm going to go online. We're going to think of a name, and we're going to see if it's taken anywhere. So she started doing all these Google searches and stuff, and we started writing things down. And I said, okay, I want something to do with hair. So the names that we came up with, like, I can't even remember how many alternatives there were, but finally, I think even before it was Tease Hair Lounge, I think it was Tease Bar. But then last minute I changed it because I'm like, oh my God, people are going to think this is like a nightclub. So we decided to make it Tease Hair Lounge instead.
Okay. Excellent. So what got you excited about starting your own business?
Yeah, just honestly being my own boss, starting, my own business, like, not listening to anybody, just doing my own thing. I think that was the main reason why I wanted to start this. Okay.
Now, what do you find has been one of the most frustrating things about being an entrepreneur?
I think it's honestly trying to make everybody happy. You're in this position where, you're the boss, and You know,
Yeah.
you have more responsibilities. Everyone thinks like, oh, you're the boss. You must have all this free time. And it's actually quite the opposite. You know, you have to be there all the time. You have to put 100% all the time, you know. Not only that, I have a family as well. So, you know, taking time away from that really affects your relationships.
Right.
You know, affects your relationships with your family, your friends, and all that. And I think, you know, you have to be willing to sacrifice that for at least the first couple of years until you start to establish your business. You know, they say the 5 years are the hardest years for
Mhm.
opening up a small business. And, you know, I've overcome that, which is great. You know, I've had my ups and downs, but, yeah, I think that would probably be the most, frustrating for me, you know, just trying to make everybody happy, trying to balance your life.
Yeah, because I mean, the business consumes your life, right? That's everything because you're trying to get yourself established, trying to get your name out there. And
Mm-hmm.
like you said, you're trying to balance family and friends and all different relationships. But this business is your baby, and you've got to grow it. You've got to get it out there. So it's got to be tough. It is tough for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely tough in every aspect, you know. You're learning as you're going. And if I could only go back and change some things, I don't know if I would
Mhm.
because you always learn from your mistakes, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, I definitely maybe would change one or two things.
Well, you've just passed the 5-year mark, so that's good. Congratulations,
Yeah,
man. That's
thanks.
great. So
Thanks.
is there anything you wish, and I'm sure there is, you wish you knew when you started out that you know now? A couple things you can share?
Uh, yeah, you know, I wish I did a little bit more research on the cost of starting up a business. I think I was so into aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I wanted it to look a certain way. I wanted, you know, it to be a certain way. And, you know, I wish I did a little bit more research on more cost effective things because I spent, you know, a lot of money
Yeah.
opening up this business, which, you know, I love the way my salon looks, but I'm pretty sure I could have found a cheaper way to do it.
Well, your salon is beautiful, for sure.
Thank you. Yeah. I wish it was a little bit bigger. I mean, you grow out of things and I definitely grew out of the salon and, you know, maybe one day in the
Mm-hmm.
future, you know, I'll be able to have a bigger spot, but we'll see. We'll see when the time comes.
So what are some of the challenges you faced early on, and how did you overcome them?
Some of the challenges are, you know, basically what the frustrations are, you know, trying to balance life and trying to make time for myself. That was a big thing. I think in the beginning when I first opened, I was so into, you know, making sure everybody else was okay that I forgot about myself. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I lost myself a little bit where I forgot who I was. And I'm usually this bubbly, outgoing, crazy person. But you know, I started being too serious, you know, taking things like not for granted, but just like not having fun in life. And
Yeah.
that's not who I am. You know, I'm used to being this, you know, fun, outgoing person. So I think recently, more than recently, maybe about a few years ago, I decided, you know, enough's enough. Like if I want to take a day off, I'm going to take a day off. If I want to go on vacation, you know, why do I feel guilty for going on vacation? You have to make yourself happy because if you're not good for yourself, you're not good for nobody.
That's true.
So that is something that I learned. Yeah, one of the biggest challenges for sure for anybody owning a business, even just if you don't own a business, if you're running a family household, you know, make
Mm-hmm.
time for yourself, go out with your girlfriends, you know, go to a spa for the day, even
Right.
like go for a jog or something. Taking that, you know, hour just to pamper yourself makes you feel really good and it re-energizes your spirits.
Do you find that's gotten easier for you as time has gone on, and in terms of who you were when you started out as a person, who you were when you started out as a business owner to now 5 years later, 3 to 5 years later, has that gotten easier for you to take the time out for yourself, do you find?
Yeah, definitely has gotten easier for me. You know, I'm a strong believer, you know, if you want your business to run properly, you should be there all the time. But I'm so fortunate that my staff are amazing. They really are. So I trust them, you know, 100%. And, you know, they know what to do. They can run that business without me, no problem. So now when I take a day off or, you know, a
Mm-hmm.
week off on vacation, I'm very confident. I don't have the stress. I don't have the worry where I used to, you know, so it's come a long way in order to get to that point.
Right.
but luckily I have, people that are amazing to work with. So those stresses are not as bad as they used to be.
That's amazing to have. And I'm sure that's not easy to find staff that you can entrust because let's be honest, this is like a child, right? This is your business. I mean, not to compare children to a business, but it is your baby. And to be able to entrust it.
And nobody's going to take care of it like you are, right?
Exactly.
And I know that. And somebody, I can't remember who told me this, but they gave me such good advice when I first opened. They said the hardest thing about opening up a business is managing other people. And I was like, no, that's, impossible, It can't be. They're like, no, it's like having more children. Right? Not that my staff are like children, but it's true. Like you are the mothership in that salon, and you got to do right by them so they look up to you and they want to do just as good.
And they respect you.
Yeah, and they respect you. And so that was really true. Managing people was really tough for me. Absolutely.
Did the women that work in your salon, were they friends of yours before the salon, or did you hire all people that you didn't know? You just had your screening process, your application process?
Well, I've been, like I said, I've been in business for 5 years. The hardest thing is to find a great staff. I've had some stylists that, have come and gone, for whatever reason. And I absolutely, respect all my staff that has come and gone. But things happen for a reason, if they're not a right fit, you realize that. Or they realize it on their own, they're just not a fit for you. So, I've had people part ways, which is good. I've had one of my staff members, Cheryl, who's been with me since the beginning. Okay. I did know her prior, but not well. She was, a friend of my family's. Okay. And so, and she's been with me ever since. So she's kind of my rock.
Excellent. So what do you think is your unique skill set or superpower that has helped you become successful?
That's a good question. Superpower. I don't know if I have, I think you just have to be positive. You have to, even if you're having a bad day, personally, I think that the last thing you want to do is bring that to work, especially when you have, such positive people working around you. Right. We all have bad days. Don't get me wrong, and we're allowed to have a bad day once in a while, but try to, leave your problems out the door. I always tell my staff, and, try to be positive and smile and let's have a good time, because the clients really feel that, bringing positiveness to the salon. And I've noticed now with my staff, you say, oh, you have all women. I actually have a guy that works with me too. And he brings all this positivity to the salon and everybody just loves him. And he's just such a ray of sunshine, this guy. So, having the right people in your atmosphere really makes a big difference in your day to day. And it makes you want to come to work and be happy. And, it makes your day go by a lot faster too.
Oh yeah, the attitudes at work are infectious. I mean, if someone's negative all the time, it's going to bring a dark cloud over the business. But I also think that on the flip side of that, you can't take work home with you either. If you have a bad day, you don't want to be bringing that home and spilling over into your home and family life either. So it goes both ways, right?
Yeah, it does. I mean, the hair industry it's a difficult industry, it's the beauty industry. We're in business to make people look beautiful and feel beautiful. If we were, a magician, we can make 100% people happy, then that'd be great. But sometimes people, aren't happy and, you have to deal with that and you just can't take it personally, you can't satisfy everybody. And I think that comes with experience. Being in the business for a long time is that you learn not to take those things personally where, some of my younger stylists, they might take it personally and be really upset about it. I just have to be there to show them, listen, you do such good work because all my stylists are absolutely amazing. Check out my Instagram page at Tease Hair Lounge. It's really good. I like no, but they are. They're so good. So, I mean, just to overcome that and just learn not to take things personally and just, ride the next day and just start fresh,
Yeah, yeah. What did you give up or sacrifice to get where you are today?
I think the one thing I sacrificed would be time. I mean, like I said before, I wasn't giving myself time. I wasn't giving my
Mhm.
family the time. I wasn't giving my friends the time. So that's one of the sacrifices that I definitely had in the beginning.
Yeah,
But that's changed.
that's good because time is probably the most precious commodity in life. I mean, you can't get time back once it's gone. So at
Yeah.
least to be able to realize that you gave that up and to take advantage of it and use your time better and take time for yourself, as you said, you've learned to do over the past few years. So
Hmm.
it's good that you're able to do that.
Yeah.
What profession, other than what you're doing, would you like to attempt in life?
I always said that there's a few things.
Okay, let's hear them.
I always said that if I wasn't a hairstylist, I would be a teacher. I love to teach. Kind of what I do right now. I do teach, like, at the salon. I'm trying to teach and share my knowledge every day with my other staff members. So I always said that I wanted to teach. I don't know what kind of teacher I would want to be, but
Hmm.
just being in that industry would be great. And also, I love to cook. I don't know if people know this about me, but I love cooking. So I think I would probably be a chef.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
What's your favorite curse word?
Oh, shit. I say that all the time. Oh, shit.
All right.
Yeah,
What
that's it.
what sound or noise do you absolutely love?
I love the sound when I'm sitting, like, on vacation and I'm sitting on the beach and you can just hear the water.
Uh-huh.
You just close your eyes, listen to the birds chirping, hear the water. That's probably one of my favorite sounds.
Oh no, you're taking me to a beach and I'm gonna fall asleep.
Right? Yes.
That's
One
so
day,
relaxing.
one day we'll be able to travel again.
Yes, one day, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
If you could have one superpower, what would that be?
I would say stop time.
Top 10. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Stop time so I can do a lot more things. People say, oh, we have 24 hours in a day. 24 hours in a day, sometimes it's not enough time. That's how I feel.
Especially as a business owner.
Right?
Absolutely, yeah, 100%.
That would be my superpowers, to stop
Okay.
time.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how weird would you say you are?
I used to be really weird. I would say in my 20s, and my family can attest to this for sure. I used to wake up singing, dancing.
Yeah.
I still do that sometimes. I'm a morning person, so I love to wake up in the morning. And I have all this energy. I don't know where it comes from. But weird now, I don't think I'm weird now. I think I've become more mature and more normal. But I do have some weird things that I,
Weird
like
quirks.
to do. So
So you're maybe a 6 or a 7 now, whereas before in your 20s you're about a 9.
yeah, exactly.
Scale of 1 to 10.
I should bring it back to a 9. Why not? Nothing else to do.
Yeah, sure. What the hell? What was a turning point in your life, and how did it affect you?
You know what? The turning point in my life when I realized what I really wanted to do was when I had my daughter. I had a great job. I was bartending. I loved it. I bartended for 18 years. I got to travel with my job.
Mm-hmm.
But when I had her, I realized, I need something more secure.
Yeah.
That I wanted to do and something that I love to do, right? So
Yeah.
it was hair. Hair was the thing that I wanted to do. So when I had her, that's kind of when I started realizing I want to open up my own business, and it's now or never sort of thing. You're getting older and you got to establish something.
Children tend to change your outlook and your view on life and the world and everything.
They do.
It's all prioritizing, right? You have to change your priorities around when kids come into the picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of your daughter, what does the word empowerment mean to you, and how do you teach empowerment to her?
Okay, well, empowerment to me is, I guess, being in control of your life, being confident, knowing what you want, if someone tells you, no, you can't do it, ask why. Yes, I can, I try to teach my daughter that, my daughter makes the jokes and says, Daddy's the boss of the house. And I'm like, excuse me? I'm like, what makes you think Daddy is the boss of the house? And she says, because he's a guy. And I say, no, honey, you're a woman. You're growing up to be a woman.
Yeah.
And you are in charge of your own life. And I always tell her that. I'm like, a woman can do whatever a man can do. But I constantly put that in her head.
Absolutely, especially when she's young, right? Get them in that train of thought while they're young, that it's not, the man isn't necessarily the boss of the house, or, the what's the word I'm looking for? The head of the household and so on, the breadwinner. And I mean, you're proving that to her as well by being a business owner yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important to get that in their heads when they're younger.
Absolutely.
What's the best advice you've ever received?
I received this from one of my really good friends, and it's don't think, just do.
There we go.
And I love this because sometimes in life you overthink things.
Absolutely.
And you don't necessarily follow through with them because you think too much of it. You're like, you think, the consequences or, the good, the bad, just don't think about it. Just do it. Because if you don't take chances in life, you'll never know. Obviously, there's good chances, there's bad chances, but with sacrifice, you have to sacrifice certain things sometimes to be successful in others. But you will never know that unless you just do it.
We get in our own way, I find, and we get into our own heads and let that take over, and it kind of deters and we talk ourselves out of shit. Like I said, we get in our own way too much, I think, and we've just got to just do it, like you said.
Don't think, just do. I'm going to put that on a logo or on a shirt.
There you go. Well, speaking of success, you mentioned success. How would you define success? What does success mean to you?
I think success is not in how much money you make, because I think that's ridiculous. I think success is waking up every morning, loving what you do, enjoying every moment, and just feeling fulfilled in your career or anything, I think that to me is being successful.
Beautifully said. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Honestly, don't be scared. Just do it. I wish that I had done this a long time ago, opening up my own business. But, things happen for a reason. I really am a true believer of that. And when it's time, it's time. When you're ready, you're ready. But, I think I wish I did it just a little bit earlier because, you're always scared to do something like this. Opening up a business is a scary thing. It
is for sure. Especially a brick and mortar. I mean, a brick and mortar business, you've got a lot more responsibility and, it's tough. It's definitely tough. But do you ever think that because when I was thinking about making the jump from the corporate world to my own business too, I'd heard people say, well, how do you know it's the right time? And I don't think there's ever a right time per se to do it. You just have to, as you said, don't think about it, just do it. You have to just do it. When you feel it in your gut.
You feel in your gut. It's like if you only jumped on that when you said you were going to jump on it, it's like, okay, you're going to make a goal in your life. I'm going to go to the gym on Monday. Everyone's like, okay, on Monday, I'm starting my diet. I'm doing this on Monday, and 4 Mondays go by and you look back at that first Monday and you're like, if I only started that Monday, where would I be right now?
And
I always say, and people are always like, oh, I need to do this. I'm like, then do it. Do it. What are you waiting for? Do it right now.
Well, we only have one life and you gotta do the things you want to do. You gotta do what makes you happy. I mean, so many people stay in jobs that they hate, they're stuck in, and they don't want to go to work. And so then you're the only one that can change it. So do something about it. Of course it's scary. Of course there's a lot of things to think about and there's a lot of circumstances. But if you keep talking about it and you don't do it, before you know it, 20 years have gone by and you'd be looking back saying, shit, you know what? I should have done it 20 years ago when I was first talking about it. So many people end up in that boat.
And this is where one of my favorite quotes come into play. Do you want to hear what it is?
Sure, of course.
Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time.
I love it.
That's it.
Right. As you say, you don't know unless you try, right? You have to at least give the effort. That way you can look back and say, you know what? I tried, it didn't work, or I had to change it. As long as you try. I mean, failure is the best way to learn. If you fall on your face, you pick yourself up, get up again, and do it again. Just try it and try something different. Look at it, take it from a different angle. But don't not try it. Not trying is the biggest failure. For sure.
Exactly. I have a lot of people calling me saying, Jess, I'm sorry that you had to close your business for the time being because of this quarantine. How are you dealing with it? And are you nervous? And yeah, I mean, I'm nervous. Like there, a lot of, we're not bringing any money in, all this money's still going out. I still have to pay my rent. I still have to pay bills, so things like that, are scary, but God forbid this quarantine goes on for the next year, which I don't foresee that happening. But say if it does, that's a lot of money out of my pocket that I've worked so hard for. But is it going to stop me and I'm going to give up? No, if I need to start all over again, I will. Because I know I can. I know I can do it.
That's a great attitude to take. So that quote you mentioned, is that your favorite quote, would you say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that is my favorite. But I do have another one too.
Okay, let's hear another one then.
Okay. Every day may not be good, but there is something good in every day. So, people have bad days, but in that day, there has to be something good that happens.
Absolutely.
Just take a look at it, open your eyes and, go outside, nature, or, the sky or your kids or there's something good in that day. So don't always think that, it's a bad day because we're stuck in our houses and we're quarantined for this coronavirus.
How about the fact that you woke up on the green side of the grass?
Right? Exactly. Speaking of green side of the grass, when is the summer ever going to come? We got some snow this morning.
I know it was really chilly this morning. I hope it gets here soon. I heard this week is supposed to be chilly, so hopefully, if that is true and if that stays true, because we all know how incorrect the weather people can be. So hopefully they're either wrong, or at least if they are correct for once, next week it starts to warm up and we start to see some warmer weather. I mean, we can at least get out and go for a walk and enjoy the fresh air, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we need right now.
We do.
Some vitamin D.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Jess, thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast today. It was an absolute pleasure chatting with you, and thank you for sharing your insights and your journey and your experiences with being an entrepreneur and just life in general. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I had a good time. Thank you so much.
No problem. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of the Empowerography Podcast. My guest was Jessy Pagliuca, owner of Tease Hair Lounge in Streetsville, Ontario. Thanks very much, Jess. I hope you have a wonderful day today.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Okay, bye.